of year-end deliverables in GST, because I think this topic is very much relevant now, because we are heading toward the end of the year, and lot many GST compliances are required to be done at the year end. I hope my screen is visible to everybody now. Shilpi, can you confirm my
Sir,
screen?
it is visible to me.
Yeah.
Sir, all the participants, can you please unmute yourself and confirm? Is it visible to you?
Yes, 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 yes.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yes.
You can all please mute yourself again so that we can start the meeting.
उधर भी आई थिंक इनको भी म्यूट करा सकते हैं. आई थिंक थोड़ा सा यहाँ से भी इको ना हो रही हो ये.
जी, we'll do that.
Yeah. So, sir, I am going to start the presentation. The agenda is year-end deliverables for financial year 2021. So, sir, as we all know, we are doing lot of compliance under GST on monthly basis or rather quarterly basis, and lot many other things are being done. But definitely, as year end is approaching, there are different kind of compliances which are required to be done by a company. So generally, since these are year end compliances, so generally there may be some cases ki these compliances may be skipped by the company. So keeping that in view, we have selected this topic, year-end deliverables for financial year 2021. Just wait a minute. Yeah. First, let us come to the compliances with respect to the invoicing. So, sir, first compliance is e-invoicing made mandatory for a registered person whose aggregate turnover exceeds 50 crores in any of the financial years starting from financial year 17-18. Meaning thereby अगर कोई भी registered person है जिसकी annual turnover during the financial year 17-18, 18-19 and 19-20 and 19-21 is more than 15 crores, then in that case e-invoicing will be applicable to that registered person with effect from 1st April 2021. तो सर पहले जो गवर्नमेंट ने जो है e-invoicing the government is making e-invoicing applicable gradually, and earlier the registered person having aggregate turnover of more than 500 crores, on those persons the invoicing has been made applicable from 1st October 2020, and then this limit has been reduced to 100 crores with effect from 1st January 2021. Now the government has further reduced this limit to 50 crores with effect from 1st April 2021. So now it is very much essential for the companies to ensure that they comply with this provision. Reason being, if e-invoicing is applicable to your company, I am using the word company, but it includes everybody, whether it is proprietorship, partnership, or other form of business organization. So if your aggregate turnover exceeds 50 crore, so definitely you are required to do the compliance with the e-invoicing provisions. So, and that compliance may include you need to customize your tally or some SAP system or some ERP package on which you are working, so that e-invoicing can be properly generated by that system with effect from 1st April 2021. तो अगर आप पे ये एप्लीकेबल है तो डेफिनेटली आपको अभी ही इसके लिए कुछ करना पड़ेगा. रीजन बीइंग, अदरवाइज आपको 1st अप्रैल 2021 से इट विल बी डिफिकल्ट फॉर यू टू डू द ई-इनवॉइसिंग. तो सर मैं ई-इनवॉइसिंग कैसे जनरेट होगी, उसमें क्या क्या प्रिकॉशन लेने हैं या उसके और क्या क्या कंडीशंस हैं, मैं उसमें नहीं जा रहा हूँ. आई एम जस्ट एक्सप्लेनिंग यू द चेंजेस व्हिच विल बी इफेक्टिंग फ्रॉम द 1st अप्रैल 2021. तो सर सिमिलरली अगर आप कोई कंपनी है जिसपे ई-इनवॉइसिंग ऑलरेडी एप्लीकेबल है, बट तो यू मे से कि भाई हमारे पे तो ऑलरेडी एप्लीकेबल है तो हमें इसमें कोई कंप्लायंस नहीं करना, तो सर ऐसा नहीं है, बिकॉज देयर मे बी सम वेंडर्स फ्रॉम whom you may be procuring some material and the invoicing may be applicable to that vendor. So as a company, you need to ensure that the vendor to whom the invoicing provisions are applicable with effect from 1st April 2021 issues the invoice to the company e-invoice mode, and no physical invoice is being issued by that vendor. Reason being, as per law, it has been provided that uh, if a person to whom the provision of e-invoicing is applicable issues an invoice in any other mode, then that invoice will not be treated as valid invoice and the ITC may be denied to the recipient. So that's why कि if you are a company, आप पे तो इनवॉइसिंग पहले से ही एप्लीकेबल थी, लेकिन अगर आपके वेंडर पे भी वो इनवॉइसिंग ई इनवॉइसिंग अब एप्लीकेबल हो रही है, तो आपको ये इंश्योर करना पड़ेगा कि वो वेंडर आपको ई इनवॉइस ही इशू करे, और अगर वो आपको इनवॉइस को इशू कर रहा है विच इज अदर देन ई इनवॉइस, तो उस केस में आईटीसी विल बी डिनाइड टू द रिसिपिएंट. तो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट प्रोविजन. So from our side, it is suggested that you can send some letters to the vendors to confirm that whether e-invoicing provisions are applicable to them or not. If they are applicable to them, so definitely they are required to issue the e-invoicing e-invoices to you. This second important compliance is self-invoicing and payment vouchers. So, sir, as we are aware that if we are receiving some supplies on which we are liable to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism, so in that case we are required to issue the self invoice and also the payment voucher at the time of making payment to unregistered supplier for making payment for supplies under reverse charge. So generally, I have seen in many companies we just receive the supplies on which we are required to pay the tax under reverse charge mechanism, but the companies are not issuing any self invoice, and also they are not issuing the payment voucher. So in my view, it is very much essential to issue the self invoice as well as payment voucher. Reason being, if you go into the rules which prescribe the document for claiming the input tax credit, so one of the documents for claiming the input tax credit in case of RCM supplies is the invoice issued by the recipient. So unless and until you issue the self invoice for the reverse charge supplies, you are not eligible to claim the input tax credit in case of RCM. So if at a later date the department carries out an audit and they find out that you have not issued the e-invoice, so in that case the ITC which you have claimed on the RCM supplies, that ITC may be disallowed to you. Similarly, if you are not issuing the payment voucher, so the general penalty which is prescribed under section 125 of the GST Act may be levied on the company. Now the another important change is QR code in case of B2C supply invoices. तो सर अभी जो हमने e-invoicing की बात करी, e-invoicing is applicable only in case of B2B supplies, meaning thereby जब आप business to business registered person आप supply कर रहे हैं, then only e-invoicing applicable. But if you are making supply B2C supply, in that case e-invoicing provisions are not applicable. So for those persons the government has come out with the different provisions, and they made mandatory for them to mention the QR code if their turnover exceeds a prescribed limit. So sir, government says QR code on B2C supply invoices by a person having turnover above 500 crores is required to be printed from 1st April 2021. तो सर पहले ये रिक्वायरमेंट पहले भी थी, एंड दैट दिस रिक्वायरमेंट वाज अर्लियर एप्लीकेबल फ्रॉम 1st December 2020, but due to certain relaxation which has been provided by the government has come out with a notification, and they said if the company comply with these provisions with effect from 1st April 2021, then in that case also there will be a complete waiver of penalties in this case. So now if you are making a B2C supply and your turnover is more than 500 crore, so starting from 1st April 2021 you will be required to mention the dynamic QR code on your invoices. The third important change with respect to invoice is 6-digit HSN code. So effective from 1st April 2021, it is imperative to note that the number of digits of HSN code on invoice has been changed. And if your aggregate turnover is up to 5 crore, then you are required to mention 4 digits. And if your aggregate turnover is more than 5 crore, then you are required to mention 6 digits. तो सर अगर मैं इसको पहले से कंपेयर करूं तो पहले क्या था, अगर आपकी एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर 1.5 करोड़ तक है तो you are not required to mention any HSN code on the invoice. And if your turnover is more than 1.5 crores, but it is up to 5 crores, then 2 digits of HSN code were required. And if your turnover is more than 5 crore, then 4 digits of HSN code is required. So now this digits of HSN code has been changed with effect from 1st April 2021. And due to this, as a company, what we are required to do, we required to find out the more digits of the HSN code of our products or services. तो अभी अगर हम दो डिजिट मेंशन कर रहे हैं या 4 डिजिट मेंशन कर रहे हैं तो now we need to find out 2 more digits of the HSN code which will be applicable from 1st April 2021. तो हमें ये जो HSN code find out करने पड़ेंगे, and these HSN code needs to be properly fitted into our ERP system so that the invoices which are being issued effective from 1st April 2021 contain the required digits of HSN codes. The another is invoicing series to be renewed as on 1st April 2021. तो वैसे तो ये सब लोगों को पता ही होगा कि since it is a starting of new financial year, तो generally the companies start with the new invoice series. So you may come out with the invoice new invoice series for each category of invoices which are being issued by your company. So it is not that although it is not that every year you are required to start the new series, as per law you are required to have the series, and that series should be unique. It should be the unique number. So you can continue the same series for many number of years, but generally it is being seen that every company starts a new series from the starting of the financial year. So you can also decide the series and start the new series from the 1st April 2021. Now let us come to the other compliance requirement which may arise at the year end. Like there may be a case that this certain assets has been written off or inventory has been written off in your books of accounts. So as we know, there is a section 17 subsection 5 which restricts the credit on the asset written off on the goods written off or destroyed or given as free samples. So there may be an issue that the department may say ki, on the asset written off or the inventory written off, the ITC needs to be reversed. So if it is such case that some assets are written off or inventory is written off fully in your books of account, then the possibility of ITC reversal may be explored, and the required ITC is required to be reversed in your books as well as GSTR 3B of March. Then the another is cross charge. So in many cases, the companies are having offices in multiple states and having the different GST registration in different states, and wherein the one office provides service to another. So in the GST law, as we all know, the services, the supply of goods or services by one office to another office is taxable. So there may be a case that one office may be billing to the other office for some of the services provided to that office. So although it is a billing for cross charge may be done, maybe you may be doing the billing for cross charge on monthly basis or maybe some others quarterly basis, but if you are not doing, then it needs to be ensured that if one office is providing service to another office, so in that case the billing for cross charge may be done at the year end, so that we can comply with the law. Then the another is reversal under Rule 42 and 43. So there may be a case that you may be providing some taxable services and some exempt services. तो आप कुछ जो है exempt supply कर रहे हैं, कुछ आप taxable supply कर रहे हैं. तो जो मेरा GST लॉ है वो मेरा ये कहता है कि अगर आप दोनों सप्लाईज कर रहे हैं तो यू विल बी एलिजिबल फॉर proportionate ITC on taxable supplies only, and you will be required to reverse the input tax credit which is attributable to the exempt supplies. तो जनरली जो है हम प्रोविजनल बेसिस पे इसकी कैलकुलेशन मंथ ऑन मंथ बेसिस पे करते चलते हैं, और जो भी रिक्वायर्ड रिवर्सल है हम मंथली रिटर्न्स, मंथली GSTR 3B में कर देते हैं. But as per law, as per Rule 42-43, this final calculation needs to be done up to 30th September 2021 for the financial year 2020 and 21. But if there is a reversal because of this final calculation, then the company is required to pay interest at the rate of 18% from 1st April 2021. So it is advisable from our side that if it is the case you are making taxable as well as exempt supplies, so in that case you should calculate the final reversal calculation in the month of March itself, and do the reversal and the claim of additional credit in the month of March itself, so that if some reversal arises due to this, that can be reversed in the March only. अगर आप इसको मार्च में नहीं करते और आप इसको बाद में करते हैं तो डेफिनेटली you can do the reversal up to 31st September 2021, but at the same time you will also be liable to pay the interest at the rate of 18% with effect from 1st April 2021. Then the another point is GST on advance receipts. So like we all know that if we receive the advance against the supply of goods in future, in that case we are not liable to pay any GST on the advance. But if we receive some advance for supply of services at a future date, so in that case the recipient is liable to pay GST on receipt of such advance. तो अगर आपने कोई भी एडवांस रिसीव करा है अप टू 31st March 2021 और उस पे आपने कोई GST पे नहीं करा है, तो it is recommended that you should calculate the amount of GST on that advance and pay to the government. Then the annual return and GST audit. तो as we all know, जो मेरा GST audit और annual return की जो डेट थी for financial year 1920, वो हमारी गवर्नमेंट ने एक्सटेंड कर दी थी, and now the latest date is 31st March 2021. तो सर इट इज रिकमेंडेड दैट अगर आपने एनुअल रिटर्न और GST ऑडिट अभी तक फाइल नहीं करा है फॉर फाइनेंशियल ईयर 1920, तो आप उसको तुरंत फाइल कर दें बिफोर द लास्ट डेट 31st March 2021. Now another is annual return of composition taxable person. जो composition taxable person है उनको अपनी annual return फाइल करनी पड़ती है in GSTR 4. तो for the financial year 2021 the last date is 30th April 2021. तो जो अगर आप composition taxable person है या आपके client कोई composition taxable person है, तो financial year 2020-21 the last date of filing GSTR 4 is 30th April 2021. So it is also very important because very less time is given for filing this return. The another is removal of letter of undertaking. So as we all know that we can make the export of goods or export of services without payment of tax under LUT, letter of undertaking. But if you see, the letter of undertaking is valid for the financial year in which it is being granted. तो जो लेटर ऑफ अंडरटेकिंग आपने अभी लिया हुआ होगा, दैट लेटर ऑफ अंडरटेकिंग विल बी वैलिड ओनली अप टू 31st March 2021. तो अगर आप 1 अप्रैल को कोई एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं या उसके बाद कोई एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं और आपने LUT नहीं लिया है, देन इन दैट केस यू कैन नॉट मेक द एक्सपोर्ट विदाउट पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स. तो इट इज एडवाइजेबल दैट you can file the application for letter of undertaking well before in March itself, so that it can be granted to you and you can continue to export your product or the export services under LUT without payment of tax. So I think it is immediate steps which you can take, and it can be very easily applied on the GST website. The another compliance is in case of job work. तो अगर हम देखें जॉब वर्क के केस में, the provision says that if you have sent some inputs for job work, then that input should be received within the factory within a period of 1 year from the date of being sent out. And similarly, if you have sent certain capital goods for job work, for the purpose of job work, then those capital goods should be returned within 3 years from the date of being sent out. तो हमें जो है 31 मार्च 2021 को देखना पड़ेगा कि मेरे कौन से इनपुट्स और कौन से कैपिटल गुड्स जो है जॉब वर्क करके पास हैं, और जो 1 साल के अंदर या 3 साल के अंदर एज द केस में भी मेरे पास नहीं आए हैं. तो अगर नहीं आए तो दोज विल बी ट्रीटेड एज सप्लाई एंड यू विल बी लायबल टू पे एप्लीकेबल GST along with interest at the rate of 24%. तो अगर वो नहीं आए तो डेफिनेटली या वो पीरियड एक्सपायर होने वाला है, तो डेफिनेटली यू नीड टू ब्रिंग दोस इनपुट्स एंड कैपिटल गुड्स बैक इनटू योर factory. Otherwise, it will be treated as supply from the date it is being sent out to the job worker. Now the another is the compliance related to composition. अगर आप कोई रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन है तो और आप कंपोजिशन के लिए ऑप्ट करना चाहते हैं, तो डेफिनेटली you are required to file an application in form GST CMP 02 before the commencement of financial year. Meaning thereby अगर आप composition scheme opt करना चाहते हैं for financial year 21-22, तो in that case you have to file the form CMP 02 up to 31st March 2021, so that the composition can be made effective from 1st April 2021. Then similarly, if you want to opt out from the composition, then you can file the intimation for withdrawal of composition scheme within 7 days from the occurrence of event. Meaning thereby अगर आपको composition opt करना है तो composition को opt करने के खाली 2 तरीके हैं. अगर आप new registration ले रहे हैं तो at the time of registration, taking new registration, you can opt for composition. अगर आप पुराने रजिस्टर्ड पर्सन है and you are not taking new registration, then composition can be opted before the start of the financial year by filing GST form CMP 02. और अगर आप GST composition से बाहर आना चाहते हैं तो डेफिनेटली ड्यूरिंग द ईयर अगर आपने कोई भी कंडीशन सेटिस्फाई नहीं करी है कंपोजिशन की, तो विद इन 7 days ऑफ अकरेंस ऑफ दैट इवेंट, मतलब कि जब आपकी कंडीशन फुलफिल नहीं हो रही, मीनिंग देयर बाय आपकी टर्नओवर बढ़ गई या कुछ और कंडीशन जो है आप फुलफिल नहीं कर रहे, तो विद इन 7 days ऑफ अकरेंस ऑफ सच इवेंट यू कैन फाइल द intimation for withdrawal from the scheme in GST CMP 04. Now the another compliance is related to QRMP scheme, quarterly return monthly payment scheme, जो गवर्नमेंट ने अभी जो है 1 जनवरी से लॉन्च करी है. तो इसमें आपको बेसिकली जो है क्वार्टरली रिटर्न फाइल करनी होती है विद मंथली पेमेंट. तो इसमें क्या है कि आपको ऑप्ट करना पड़ता है कि आप QRMP स्कीम में जाना चाहते हैं या आप मंथली जो हमारी नॉर्मल स्कीम है उसमें आप रहना चाहते हैं. तो अभी क्या हुआ था कि इन्होंने कुछ बाय डिफॉल्ट कुछ पैरामीटर्स लगाए थे जिसमें कुछ लोग मंथली भी रिटर्न फाइल करना चाहते थे लेकिन वो QRMP में चले गए. तो उसमें भी कोई चिंता करने वाली बात नहीं है, गवर्नमेंट ने स्विचिंग ओवर की ऑप्शन दी हुई है. तो इन्होंने ये कहा है द टैक्सपेयर वांट्स टू ऑप्ट आउट ऑफ QRMP स्कीम एंड वांट टू बिकम मंथली फाइलर, मीनिंग देयरबाय फॉर द लास्ट क्वार्टर ऑफ 2021, दैट इज जनवरी 2021 टू मार्च 2021, यू आर अंडर QRMP स्कीम, बट अब आप मंथली फाइलर में आना चाहते हैं, QRMP से बाहर आना चाहते हैं. तो इन सच केसेस यू कैन opt out of the QRMP scheme and you can fill the declaration for the same from 1st February 2021 to 30th April 2021. मीनिंग देयर बाय अगर आप 1 अप्रैल 2021 से 30 जून 2021 के पीरियड के लिए आप QRMP से की स्कीम में आना चाहते हैं तो आप डिक्लेरेशन 30 अप्रैल 2021 तक दे सकते हैं, और अगर आप इसके बाद डिक्लेरेशन देंगे तो सिस्टम आपको अलाउ नहीं करेगा एंड यू विल बी गवर्न्ड बाय द QRMP scheme only. Then the taxpayer has been assigned quarterly frequency by the system even when the aggregate turnover on PAN is greater than 5 crore. तो ये भी केसेस हमारे पास काफी सारे आए मेरे क्लाइंट्स के, जिसमें उन्होंने कहा कि हमारी एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर तो 5 करोड़ से ज्यादा है, लेकिन सिस्टम ने हमें फिर भी QRMP में ऑटोमेटिकली QRMP स्कीम में असाइन कर दिया है. तो फ्रेंड्स एक चीज यहाँ मैं बताना चाहूंगा, QRMP स्कीम खाली उन्हीं टैक्स पेयर्स पे एप्लीकेबल होती है जिनकी एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर 5 करोड़ से कम है. तो इस केस में क्या हुआ, उनकी एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर लेकिन ज्यादा है, लेकिन फिर भी सिस्टम ने उनको QRMP स्कीम में डाल दिया. मे बी उन्होंने जो है एग्जाम टर्नओवर रिपोर्ट नहीं करी GSTR 3B में, या कुछ और टर्नओवर रिपोर्ट करने से रह गई, जिसकी वजह से उनके टर्नओवर एज पर द सिस्टम कंप्यूटर एग्रीगेट टर्नओवर इज लेस देन 5 करोड़. तो सिस्टम ने उनको QRMP स्कीम में डाल दिया. तो अगेन वो भी अगर टैक्स पेयर्स हैं तो वो भी QRMP स्कीम से जो ऑप्ट आउट कर सकते हैं बाय 30th अप्रैल 2021. The another is requirement for input tax credit. Similarly, अगर आप अपनी GSTR 3B देखें, there is a column to show ineligible ITC in the GSTR 3B. But I have seen many clients and many cases the registered persons are not showing ineligible ITC. So from my side, it is recommended that we should be showing ineligible ITC in the GSTR 3B. So because the many times the question arises that these details are not being captured by the ERP software. That's where the companies are not reporting this figure. So it is recommended that we should be making the suitable changes in in recording the accounting entries so that ineligible ITC is appropriately captured in the financial books and it can be properly reported in GSTR 3B. Now there are other year-end deliverables which are recommended from CJ legal side. The first is reconciliation of GSTR 1 and 3B. मैंने काफी केसेस में देखा है कि जिसमें जो हमने GSTR 1 फाइल करी है और GSTR 3B फाइल करी है, उन दोनों में डिफरेंस होता है. तो if there is a difference, then it is better to reconcile now. It is better to reconcile the outward supply declared in GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B now and make the suitable adjustment in March GSTR 3B. Although the time is available up to 30th September 2021, but it is advisable to do it in the March itself. Although if you see, there is a very major change which has been made in this Finance Bill 2021 in case of GSTR 1. तो अगर आप उसमें देखें, उन्होंने जो है सेक्शन 75 में सेक्शन 75 सबसेक्शन 5 में चेंज करा है और उन्होंने ये कहा है अगर आपने कोई भी आउटवर्ड सप्लाई GSTR 1 में डिक्लेयर करी है तो हम उसको सेल्फ असेस टैक्स लायबिलिटी मानेंगे. मीनिंग देयर बाय वंस द गवर्नमेंट assume the supplies which are being declared in GSTR 1 as a self-assessed tax liability, in that case the department has the power to recover the tax without issuing the SCN to you. So it is a very serious issue now, because earlier what was happening, if there is a difference, we just we were just writing the letter to the department showing the differences, reason for the differences. But now they are saying that whatever you are declared in GSTR 1 is a self-assessed tax liability. So you have to be very careful, because if they assume it to be a self-assessed tax liability, then they are not required to issue you any SCN under section 73 or 74. They are not bound by any time limitation which are being given under section 73 and 74. And they are also not required to give any opportunity of being heard to you. So it is a very serious issue. So it is advisable that these two things should match. Then reconciliation of e-way bill generated with GSTR 1. तो सर हम आउटवर्ड सप्लाई GSTR 1 में भी डिक्लेयर करते हैं. सिमिलरली वी आर आल्सो जनरेटिंग द ई-वे बिल. तो आइडियली the supplies which are declared in GSTR 1 should match with e-way bill generated. If these two are not matching, then we should be having valid justification for the same. Why there is a difference? Because at a later date, if the value coming in e-way bill is more than the value declared in GSTR 1, then the department may always say that you can suppress the supplies because the e-way bill has been generated for the more amount, and you may be liable to pay the tax on the difference. So it is better to have the reconciliation well in advance, so that if any queries is being raised by the department, we should be able to justify the same. Then the another very important point is evaluation of capital work in progress. Many times I have seen in many companies that what happens that many things are being parked in the capital work in progress. तो जो भी हम खरीदते रहते हैं capital work in progress में उसको पार्क करते रहते हैं और उस पे इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट अवेल करते रहते हैं, जो कि जीएसटी में कहीं पर भी ऐसी कंडीशन नहीं है कि इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट तभी मिलेगा when the asset is put to use. तो जब भी हम एसेट खरीदते हैं या कोई भी सेल्फ कंस्ट्रक्टेड एसेट के लिए कोई मटेरियल खरीदते हैं तो वो CWIP में पार्क होता रहता है. एंड एट ए लेटर डेट वी एनालाइज दोज एसेट्स एंड वी एनालाइज द कैपिटल वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस एंड कैपिटलाइज those capital work in progress with the respective asset. So that may be building or that may be furniture or some other plant and machinery also. But friends, you will appreciate that in the GST, if you are making any addition, if you are incurring any expenditure for making addition to building, in that case the ITC is not available on that portion. So we need to analyze the capital work in progress, and if that capital work in progress is capitalized along with building, so definitely ITC needs to be reversed on that capital work in progress. Then the another is ITC reversal on account of rule 37. तो हम सबको पता है सर कि जीएसटी में एक रूल है जिसमें वो कहते हैं कि अगर आपने वेंडर को विद इन 180 डेज फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ इनवॉइस उसको पेमेंट नहीं करी, तो जो भी आपने उस इनवॉइस के अगेंस्ट क्रेडिट क्लेम कराए, तो यू हैव टू रिवर्स दैट क्रेडिट अलोंग विद इंटरेस्ट. ऑल्दो यू कैन क्लेम दैट क्रेडिट वंस अगेन वंस यू मेक द पेमेंट. So sir, as a company, what we need to do, we need to take out the creditor aging as on 31st March 2021, and we need to analyze the creditors to whom we have not made the payment within 180 days, which are outstanding for more than 180 days, and the credit on those creditors are required to be reversed in my books of account as well as in GSTR 3B, and this credit can be claimed back when we make the payment to the respective vendor. The another is GSTR 2A reconciliation with ITC as per books of account. So sir, this is also very important area, and I think all of you are aware the government has also introduced rule 36 sub rule 4, wherein they have said the company can claim the credit on missing invoices up to 20% of the eligible credit which is appearing in GSTR 2A. And the later on this limit has been reduced to 10%, and further this limit has been reduced to 5%. And in the Finance Bill 2021, they have introduced a condition in section 16 subsection 2 itself, that if the credit is not appearing in your GSTR 2A, in that case you are not eligible to claim the credit. So it is one of the conditions they are proposed to insert in section 16 subsection 2A. So meaning thereby what I am trying to say here, that अगर आपका credit GSTR 2A 2B में आ रहा है, only then you will be able to claim the input tax credit. Otherwise you will not be able to claim the input tax credit, and the department is going to issue you a letter. So it is very important for us to that we should be having the proper system in place, so that GSTR 2A reconciliation is done on monthly basis. Although the rule 36 sub rule 4 is there, but I have find in many companies the GSTR 2A reconciliation is not done on monthly basis. and it is done on as an annual exercise and as a periodical exercise. So it is recommended that the GSTR 2A reconciliation should be done on month basis so that appropriate action can be taken. तो कई केसेस में मैंने ये भी देखा कि ठीक है कंपनी GSTR 2A रिकंसिलिएशन कर रही है, बट दे आर नॉट डूइंग द एडुकेट फॉलो अप विद द वेंडर. वो रीजन उन्होंने निकाल लिया, डिफरेंस के रीजन क्या है, बट उनके पास कोई भी ऐसा स्ट्रेटेजी नहीं है या कोई भी ऐसा मैकेनिज्म नहीं है टू डील विद द वेंडर एंड टू गेट दीज थिंग्स करेक्टेड. तो जो कि जीएसटी में एक ये भी प्रोविजन है कि अगर GSTR 1 में कोई भी करेक्शन करनी है, सपोज मैं कहूँ फाइनेंशियल ईयर 2021 की करेक्शन करनी है, तो दोज करेक्शन कैन बी मेड इन GSTR 1 अप टू 30th September 2021 विद इन 6 months फ्रॉम द एंड ऑफ फाइनेंशियल ईयर. तो अगर आप उसको बाद में बताएंगे तो डेफिनेटली दैट वेंडर विल नॉट बी एबल टू कैरी आउट द करेक्शन इन GSTR 1 also. So it is very glaring issue. So I think we should be prompt in reconciling GSTR 2A. The another point is reconciliation of outward supply as per GSTR 1 और GSTR 3B with balance sheet. तो अभी जो हमने पहले स्लाइड में बात करी थी, तो we were saying that the supplies as per GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B should be reconciled. Now the supplies as per GSTR 1, 3B as well as with my balance sheet should be reconciled. If there is a difference, then we should be knowing the reason for the difference, and if any tax needs to be paid, so that tax should be paid appropriately. Then the another is reconciliation of ITC ledgers. तो सर ये बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है, जो कि मैंने अपने क्लाइंट्स के केस में काफी केसेस में पाया कि व्हाट इज हैपनिंग कि जो हमारे बैलेंसेस आ रहे हैं इन इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कैश लेजर में और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर में ऑनलाइन ऑन द GST पोर्टल, those balances are not matched with my books of accounts. So sir, in my view, we should carry out the reconciliation between the electronic cash ledger balance and a credit ledger balance as per GSTN portal and the balance which are appearing in my books of accounts. So friends, thanks a lot for the patient hearing. So this was a small presentation from my side. So now I invite Shilpi to carry out the question answer session.
So thank you very much, CA Chitresh Gupta ji, for a great deliberation. So as we say, आगाज अच्छा है तो अंजाम भी अच्छा होगा. So I hope everybody plans their year ahead and make it a fully compliant year as far as GST is concerned. So let us take Mahesh ji. Mahesh ji, please unmute. Mahesh ji, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, Chitresh ji, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much for your presentation. So I have three, 4 questions. Can I ask all?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. Okay. So you said this 6-digit HSN code is implemented with effect from 1st April 2021, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
in case the vendor has not used the HSN code in their invoices, then the ITC credit will be admissible, or it should be not admissible?
Sir, there can be a doubt from the department side, because if you see as per rule 46